Good morning and welcome to 5 Minutes with Pat Hobson from 64 Property New Farm. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Matt.
Friday mornings. We seem to catch up Friday mornings for whatever reason.
We do. It's the best day of the week. That's why.
Whilst we're in a good mood, let's rewind. Let's talk about that transition into real estate, those emotions that you had before you actually committed. What was going through your head? What were you thinking before you actually entered? Was it anticipation? Was it apprehension? Where were you at?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just a new journey to begin. So of course it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking, but if anything, more excitement. The whole build up to it. I had pictured it for a little while in my head. So when it finally came, it was a very exciting moment. So more happy emotions than anything.
And in hindsight, looking back, did you understand the role of a real estate agent properly before you got into it?
For the majority of it, I'd say yes. There's obviously a lot more to the role than meets the eye, but certainly, the main assumption that anyone would have of a real estate agent. Yeah.
The tax on your time in terms of juggling your freedom and being diligent around your day, were you up for
Mm.
that? Were you ready for that?
Yeah, it was funny coming from just casual work to really full time being slammed 24/7. But it's a process that you get used to over time, and you eventually learn to love it, and it does become flexible if you do manage it well. So, but it's all about getting those ground skills perfected first, so that way, you do have more time to do the things you want because you're quicker at doing the other things.
But just on that, did the training in hindsight adequately prepare you for the role?
Yes, yes, I'd say it 100% did. Obviously, the more practical application, is something that you just learn along the way, but all the theoretical work was pretty well spot on.
And in setting the tone for what a day, a week, a month looked like in real estate, obviously you couldn't know what you couldn't know. But in the role, I'm imagining there would have been practical on the job training that prepared you for that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we do all of our role play discussions and everything. We do our training every Tuesday morning. We set out different scenarios. We like to challenge ourselves before we actually go do the job. We always say it's better to mess up in training than it is to mess up in a real life situation.
So in doing all of that, was there a bit of apprehension once it started, or did it feel comfortable from the get-go?
The initial startup was definitely a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, for anyone, trying something new, you're not going to get it the first time perfectly. So it's definitely something that, you need to chip away at little bit by little bit, and then eventually you just become more confident over time. Um, and then things just start running a lot more smoothly.
So talking to people in regard to asking for business, talking to buyers in regard for increased offers, when did you feel comfortable with those conversations?
Um, for a long time, I was obviously listening to the others around me and listening to what they say, and then sort of just reciprocating that into my own words, which I found helped the most because all of a sudden, there's already lines that work out there essentially, but it's all about just tweaking it to something that sounds a little bit better coming out of your mouth. So I'd say I adapted to it fairly quickly. It wasn't something I was overly scared of doing, but being able to fine tune it did take a bit of time. Don't get me wrong. So maybe say 3 to 4 months in, we're feeling pretty confident about doing those sorts of tasks.
And asking for the business, when were you comfortable doing that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was definitely something that I became confident, I'd say about a good 3 to 4 months in, I'd say still, once you knew how to essentially sell yourself as an agent, you had those backing tools, a bit of experience behind you, I guess, to just back yourself with.
What does the future hold, mate? What's the next step for you, do you think, over the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh, that's the question. That is the question. There's been talks of starting up a Melbourne office. So we'll see how that one unfolds. So I've been looking at that one a little bit. So
New
all things going
marketplace.
well. Yeah, new marketplace. I've always wanted to go live down in Melbourne, so thought it might be a fun little challenge. But I'd like to just get used to up here first. Really, really set myself in up here before moving down anywhere.
Really appreciate your time, mate. Thank you so much for spending 5 minutes with us this morning. We'll
No,
come
it's all
back
good.
at another stage and we'll start talking about processing and what prospecting looks like in your eyes.
Yep, no, 100%. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
No worries, bud. Have a great day.
You too. Bye now.